Buongiorno, come stai? Welcome to Choice, Change and Action podcast. So you're with me, your host, Simone Milasas. I am at Castle Borgone at the moment in Italy, which is a castle that I co-own with some fabulous people. It's super early in the morning right now. It's like 6 a.m. I'm heading to Sardinia in Italy. That's why you are getting an excerpt from my last call I did in my Profit Club. I have a membership that's monthly. It's $28 a month. It's so friggin' cheap, and you get 2 calls with me a month. The price is going up in August, so if you want to join, please do. We'll have the links below. This call was on, I guess, what you call, are you choosing your being, or are you choosing to function from personality? And a lot of the times when we function from personality, we do this thing of we have this angst in our world and we contract. And when you have this angst in your world and you contract, you create a vibration in your body that reacts to something rather than, what could I be right now? Like, so the question, is this personality or being, is absolutely brilliant. Please use that question and enjoy this excerpt from the Profit Club. And if you'd like to have the whole call, then if you join ASAP, you can get it and we'll send you the whole entire download. So don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and all of that stuff. And I hope you're having a fabulous friggin' time wherever you are. And I'm just going to show you this beautiful, there's the chandelier. I'm waiting for my car. Well, if you're listening to me, you can't see the chandelier, right? And I'm just going to show you. So you've got to jump over to YouTube. I'm going to show you the back part of the castle. Early in the morning, this big, beautiful tree. It's like, oh my goodness. It's so friggin' beautiful and stunning. I love this place. I love the world. I love the planet. Okay, enjoy. Big hugs, big kisses. Baci.
Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future.
So hello, everybody. Welcome to the Profit Club. Yay! And the crowd goes wild. Yay. So I'm going to put a little video in the tech thing based on what I just taught everyone, tech. So I'm going to take myself off here now because I like to see you guys, not speaker. So hi, everybody. Sorry if you're in America and it's a really bad time, but I'm not very good at doing that juicy time when I'm in Europe at 11 o'clock at night. You just get me. So it's not very me. Although I have just been in Russia and they have this thing called White Nights, and it's 10 days of the year. 22nd today is the peak time, and I only left there yesterday. Oh, Rachel, it's 2 a.m. You're a trooper. And I only left there yesterday, and they say it's dark for like 2 hours. It's not. It's like, and so it was very interesting to look at that because my body was waiting for it to get dark. And, you know, I realized like your natural rhythm of your body, when you go outside in the morning and you see the sunlight and you put your feet on the ground or you do anything like that, your body does this thing of going, okay, so in about 16 hours, I need to create melatonin so that you'll sleep, right? So in Russia, we're in Northwest Russia, in the woods, you know, on this lake. It was amazing. It doesn't get dark. My body the first night was almost like going into this frantic. But here's the thing is it was almost going into this frantic. And then Sergey, one of my friends who I was with, started working on me. And I realized it also didn't matter even what body process he was running. It was like my body was going, oh, listen to Sergey's body, because Sergey's body knew what was going on, because mine was just like, what the fuck? And his was like, hey, it's okay. It's called White Nights and there is no dark, but you can still sleep. So it's what I found really interesting is how much the familiarity of what we do with our bodies, and we choose this familiarity and think that's the only choice, rather than what if every single day you took yourself out of familiarity? What would you choose and what are you capable of? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Yep. Right, not good and bad. Pokken Padona and Shorts Boys, Provid Oh yeah, Jessica, I think you get the same thing, don't you? And Finland gets it as well. Just this extreme white nights. Coming from Australia, it's very interesting. So, and well done, the Americans on there. Okay, So today I also wanted to bring up a topic that I spoke about in Choice for Possibilities in Russia a lot. And if you're on any of Dane's stuff, he's been talking about it as well. And excuse me, it's called personalities, right? So you have to bear with me here. Pamela McDowell, one of my assistants, said to me this morning, "Hey, is your body up for doing the Profit Club?" And I woke up and I went, "Good question." And I said, "Let me just have a shower and get some coffee and have a look at it." Because the last like 24 hours, I have been, I would say, like flu-like sick, but it's also, I would get like this detoxing of the personalities of what I'm talking about. Oh, I don't know why. I didn't mean to do balloons, but I did. I love the reactions. Anyway, there's balloons. Balloons for detoxing. And Dane, on one of his calls, 15 billion, I think it was, he wasn't feeling that great either. And he said he was looking at maybe like not doing the 15 billion. And he went, "Why don't I just show up and see what shows up?" So that is definitely how I went into today, because I went, "Oh, well, what if I show up? And then if my body's not up for it, we go, sorry, we have to call it quits and we choose another time." Okay. Now, here's what came up for me. Oh, but how many people would I let down? I've got the translators. I've got, the people like Rachel, who's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, you've got the staff, you've got, all of you that have come on here. But here's what we tend to go to. We tend to go to what's right and what's wrong in a nanosecond. Like, we know the obvious stuff of where we go to, well, no, I'm right about this, or you've just convinced yourself that you're absolutely wrong about something. Whereas what are those little nanoseconds that you go, but I have to keep doing this based on blah, blah, blah. Okay. What we tend to do is we create these personalities that create an energy, and they create a vibration in our body in how to deal with something, rather than the choice of being us, which is very funny. Happy Being You Day, everybody. It's Being You Day today. And if you didn't know it's Being You Day, it's Being You Day. There you go. If you didn't know that there's Dr. Dane here has written a book, Being You, Changing the World. It's amazing. It's in so many different languages. And it's one of those books that if you pick it up every now and then, or it's on Audible as well, just play a random chapter or pick it up somewhere. I know that you'll get something different from it every single time. So there's so much in this, and I know that this is one call that we have, but what I wanted to ask you is, let's play with business and money, okay, with this. So have a look at an area that you were made wrong with money. How many of you have an area that tell me if that's annoying, because it keeps going in and out. I'm going to change it back to gallery for me. It doesn't change it on the recording though, does it? When I change it to, no, okay, good. But tell me if it's annoying that I think it keeps trying to find me and send to me. Keeps trying to send to me. See, you don't need to send to yourself. You just need a camera to send to you. Everything of that is times of God selling where you destroy and uncreate it. Right? No, good and bad. Pokken pot online, shorts, boys, provids, and beyonds. Okay. So have a look at an area of your life that you were made wrong with money. Okay. And I mean, how many of you have an area of your life, say when you were a kid, that you were made wrong with money? Or in business, you were made wrong with money. In a choice that you were made wrong with money. So when you were made wrong, like, it's all these projections that people have of you, these projections they have of you, these expectations that they have of you, of what is right and wrong to choose with money in their world. And when you choose something that's different than what is projected at you, either verbally or energetically. Sometimes those energetic ones are the absolute bitch, because they're not verbal, so they're energetic, and you're walking around going, what just happened? Okay, so all the energetic projections and verbal projections that you have had made about you in regards to money, that keeps you creating the personalities instead of you, the being, will you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, Pokken Pot all nine, shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. So how many personalities have you created in regards to money? And everything that is times a Godzilla, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, POVIDs and beyonds. You know, one of the things that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, he was told when he was a kid, his mother said to him, "You're never going to have money because all you do is spend it on everybody else." Okay. So that's a verbal projection. You're never going to have money because you spend on everyone else. So if he brought that as a truth, then he would create his whole life of never being able to have money based on that projection. Okay. For myself, I know, I mean, if you haven't read it, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully is the second book that I wrote. For myself, I did everything I could to create without money, because I thought money, if I make money significant, if I make it mean anything, then I'll always need money. And I knew that I didn't need money, but the way I was distorting it in my world was, let's have no money so that I can figure out how to create with no money. And I can prove that my point of view is correct. And money is not something that you must work for, that you must obtain, that you must ask for. I know that sounds insane, but that's actually what I chose. And how many of you are choosing something similar? Prove that you can have no money. So how many personalities have you created to have no money instead of a ridiculous amount of money? And everything that is times a Godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, POVIDs and beyonds. And I was correct at one point, because if you make anything meaningful or have anything be significant and have it, give it more importance, more value than you, then yes, it will control you. So if you do that in a relationship, if you do that with money, if you do that with business, if you do that with anything, then that is what will always control you, because you are giving it more power and potency than your being. So how many personalities have you created to substitute your being? And everything that is times a Godzilla, and we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, POVIDs and beyonds. So one of the things I've been playing with here too is, when something shows up in my world, I ask, okay, is this personality or being? So how many of you have an anxious like energy around money? Okay, I don't know, it could be, I mean, at the moment, we've got one more week until the end of the financial year in Australia. So for me, because I'm weird, it's like now I get excited about it and what I can create in that last week to make my tax return look amazing and be amazing and work for me, okay, not against me. So for me, I'm like, okay, do I need a new phone? Maybe this week's the week to buy a new phone because it's a tax deduction. You know, I start looking at different things like that. Maybe buy another ticket, you know, a flight or something, so I can get it in this financial year instead of next financial year. So I do start playing with that, with money. So how many so you create this, how many personalities do you have creating the angst you have around money? And everything that is times a Godzilla, and we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, POVIDs and beyonds. So how this works is, so right now, like I said, there's a week in the financial end of financial year. So there would be people in that part of the world, in Australia, starting to be anxious about this, okay? End of the financial year. There are accountants saying, hey, you've got to get me all your receipts. You've got to do this. And you're like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go out. I want to go to sleep. I want to go out to dinner. I want to do something different, you know? So, but you're getting asked about something. So anytime you're asked about money, or you've got to pay a bill, or something is showing up, just how many of you, if you can come up with a situation in your life, how many of you, something that you have to pay for at the moment, or if you look at your bank account, anything that goes and creates this energy, this angst in your world, okay? So that angst in your world creates a vibration in your body that gets you to create a personality in order to deal with this situation, instead of being. You think you think that creating that angst will create the freedom. It doesn't. So how many personalities have you created to substitute your being with money. And everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad. Pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, COVIDs and beyonds. Yeah, here's the thing. It's like, look at that. Like we've said, an ATO bill tax office. Okay, so that's the Australian taxation office. So if you, like the last bill that you got, what did you do? Were you grateful? I mean, I'm actually grateful to pay tax. It doesn't mean I'm going to be an idiot about it and I'm going to pay all the tax possible and not look at what's actually a tax deduction, because the way it works is you earn a certain amount of money. And then if you have a company, etc., whatever it is set up in your world, in your reality, it's like, then whatever expenses you have is taken off what you've earned, your income. So then you have a taxable income. Okay. So you want that taxable income to be as low as possible, because you've had all this stuff. Like, I mean, my flights, my accommodation, it's like, anything food-wise that I buy that's 50 kilometers outside of my primary place of residence is a tax deduction based on the business that I'm in, okay? That's just to name a few things. So I'm not going to like forget those receipts. I'm going to put those into my tax so that then I have a smaller taxable income. So with that smaller taxable income, I'm okay with paying that tax. It's totally fine for me. Because you know what, that taxation, it's like, it makes the world go around. It's, for me, it's part of an ecosystem. And I like the roads that I drive on. I like the things that the council, that the government does actually do that create a better lifestyle for me. So I'm not going to avoid it, but I'm going to be creative with it. Yeah. So how many personalities do you have creating, as someone said here, the anger and the fear with the bills that you get, rather than, okay, what can I be with this? And everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, perverts and beyonds. So how many personalities do you have to determine how you be with money?
Yeah.
And everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, perverts and beyonds. How many personalities do you have to determine how you be today? Like, look at the situation where you're in. Like, I'm at the castle at the moment. I have the lovely Diva here. I arrived yesterday. I've got Graham coming here. I'm having, different things occurring, right? And you have different people around you. So say even the staff here, I know a lot of the staff. How many of you create a personality to deal with the staff of a hotel that you go to rather than you being you? Like, I love everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, perverts and beyonds. The hotel that we were just at in Russia. If you haven't been to Russia, it's friggin' amazing. I love that country. It's so beautiful and I love it. But here's how a Russian will be, okay? Is you go to the hotel and the concierge and the guys are there. It's like, man, you would look at them and think, have you ever smiled? They're like, and they're dobro večer, dobro utro, which is good evening or good morning, right? And then that's it, and that's it. And they just nod at you and that's it, right? By the time we leave, or even like a couple of days in, they're like smiling and going, dobro večer. And like, that's how I find all Russians are. If you walk past, like in a park or something like that, or somewhere where there's not a great deal of people, they don't tend to say hello. Whereas if you're in Europe, it's like, I notice a lot of people, if you're hiking or something like that, they will say hello straight away. Okay. But that's a personality that you create. And in Russia, I noticed it's not a general thing that they would just say hello to a stranger that they're walking by. Even if you're because we went to the woods for a couple of days, even if you're in an area where there's not many people, that's a personality that you create. But here's the thing I notice, every single time you interact and engage with a Russian person, and this is a generalization, of course, oh my goodness, they are so friendly and so kind and so willing to contribute to you and whatever that they can contribute. Like the people at reception at this hotel, I genuinely get that they would like us all back there. I was doing a photo shoot and they were like, can we use your photos for our website? And they were like, a lot of hotels will say no photos. And they were like, yes, use any part of the hotel. And they were genuinely so grateful that we were there. but it's also how we were being. And I was talking, so I know there's a lot of people recently have pinged me about being vilified, right? I have definitely had my fair share of vilification, even most recently in Australia, especially. Okay. Here's the thing. If you have your fair share of vilification, which could be in the media, it could be with your family, it could be, with your partner, it could be anywhere, it could be a country like Russia. I was like, oh my goodness, you guys have had vilification. America's always looked out as the good guy, and America's the bad guy. I'm not so sure that that's correct, is what I'm going to say. Okay. And we'll leave that to a completely other discussion. But if you've had that, that vilification, that energy coming towards you, how come? What's actually going on? Are you becoming so powerful and so potent? And are you becoming this magical, amazing being that has a strength and a courage to choose anything and to change anything? Are you being different? What's actually going on? And how many of you create a personality to avoid that energy? What if there is something so much greater? I want to say on the other side. And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. I'm writing on good and bad, pock and pot all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. I know you've got your hand up, won't be a second. Look at the energy of business, okay? So how many personalities do you have to determine how you be in business? To determine your choices? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right, wrong, good and bad, pock and pot all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. How many of you have done business like everybody else has done business, because then you won't be vilified, then you won't be judged, then you won't stand out from the crowd? What if it was time, ladies and gentlemen, to stand out from the crowd and choose business as you can, as you are capable of, as your abilities are? Be so different that you never create a personality with business anymore, because you're being. And when you're being in question. When you're being, you're able to pivot at any moment and change the trajectory of the business, of your choices, etc., because it's not about going to the rightness or the wrongness. It's about knowing that, oh, the energy just changed. Let's go here. Let's go here. And then if someone goes, oh, you're so fickle, you can't make up your mind, or, oh, that's not going to work, or blah, 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 they have a point of view. Don't create a personality in order to deal with that point of view. It's like, hey, thanks for your point of view, not from judgment, being an allowance. What works really well with this is allowance, okay? So are you choosing personality or allowance? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com and follow me on Instagram at SimoneMilasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change and Action. Don't forget, you can download the show notes, and lastly, have way too much fun today.